Hello, welcome to another video by George's Shed. And in today's video we're going to be learning how to do a firm wing. So the first step in making this firm wing was to cut these templates, because this is going to be hot wire cut. So to guide the hot wire you need to create a template for each side of the firm. So mine were nothing special. I just used some hardboard and roughly sketched out an aerofoil shape and then cut it to shape using a table saw and a file. Once you've made one, you can simply trace it onto another piece of wood to make the second one. Now, the piece of wire that I was using to hot wire cut it was Constantum wire, and this piece of wire that I had was quite bent in places. So I used some pliers and the vise just to try and straighten out the wire a little bit, to obviously get a slightly cleaner cut. So once I'd done that, I then prepared the piece of firm. So I glued the two templates on either side of the firm, and then weighed the firm down with some heavy items. I then used a 12-volt power supply to get the wire hot, and then hot wire cut the firm. So trying to be as steady and as accurate as possible, I cut out all the required pieces. So you can see that it wasn't quite perfect and there's a few ridges in places. So to make it nice and smooth, I used essentially a blade glued to a stick and then used that to smooth out all the sides. I then made a second wing using the exact same process. So the firm on its own wouldn't be very hard wearing and it's not very aerodynamic. So I covered it in packing tape. I decided to use red for this because it's obviously easy to see in the air, and that created a nice smooth surface. However, I probably wouldn't recommend using packing tape in the future, as it doesn't stick to the firm or the firm I had very well, so it came loose after a while. So I then created the ailerons, and these were created simply using some firm board, and they were beveled. And then using some of the same packing tape, I used that to create the hinge and then covered the whole thing in tape again. So I actually remake this wing in the future, keeping the original firm but changing the covering. So that is going to be an upcoming video. So now the next step is to simply install the servos. So there's obviously two servos for each wing to control the aileron and the flap. If you haven't already noticed, I filmed this quite a while ago and I've only just got around to editing it. So hopefully you should expect to see a new video on this wing in the future quite soon. So the wiring's fairly straightforward. If you've had an RC plane, you probably know what the wiring is. I think at the moment these servos are simply just in a wire harness, so they're not on separate channels. But in the future, with the telemetry and autopilot system, this may in the future become a flapper-on system, which is why I made sure that there's separate servos for every control service to allow that availability for control. So now I'm just attaching the last few servo horns and linkages. And then obviously I did the exact same process for the other wing. So we now have two wings, and as I said previously, these are just going to be connected up into a wire harness. And you can see here all of the flaps and ailerons working perfectly. Thank you very much for watching, and I'll see you next time. Bye!